What's up, guys? John Howell here. Hope you guys are doing well. I'm just in the car right now and I'm just going for a little drive. Sometimes I like to go for long drives, and so right now I'm just going for a nice long drive up the coastline. So it helps me think, and it helps me just get out of the office, get out of the place and stuff like that. So yes, that's what I'm doing right now. What I want to talk to you guys about in this video, I just want to talk to you guys about a few things that I've experienced in my life and what I've gone through and stuff like that. So, like the Rocky shirt, apparently there's a big rumor out there that Rocky was dead, or Sylvester Stallone was dead, and it's actually not true. So yeah, it was interesting to see that. So one thing that I want to talk about a few things in this video. I'm just going to sort of just go off the topics that's on my mind and on my head, and hopefully these topics really help you out when it comes to your day-to-day life as well too. You know, I've gone through a lot of things in my life, and I think, you know, I'm only 34 years of age, by the way, and I've gone through a lot of things. I've got 3 kids now. I've gone through a divorce, which set me from making a lot of money into basically being almost bankrupt and moving into a share accommodation place. Yeah, so that was quite tough. That was quite hard. And so obviously I went through that, and then you know, obviously I went through a stage where, you know, it was really interesting, you know, because, you know, I went through that, and then I also went through a stage where I was $250,000 in debt. And then obviously figuring how to get through that. I've been through, you know, a divorce with 3 kids and stuff like that, and also I've been through cancer as well too. You know, where probably 9 years ago now, the doctor gave me 6 months to live. It was end of 2008, start of 2009, so 10 years ago. So it's rough, say 10 years ago. Yeah, it was really interesting now. Back 10 years ago, the way that I was trading, I was making really good money, about $30,000 a month, and the way that I was trading, I had 7 screens, and I'd trade the Aussie market during the day, and then so that'd be Aussie options during the day. So I trade the options during the day, and then at night or in the afternoon, I trade the you know, the E-mini futures. I would trade the I trade the European, like DAX as well too, in the afternoon. Then what I'd do is at night I'd trade the E-mini S&P, and I'd also trade. And you know, so I trade the E-mini S&P, and you know, and then at night time I trade also stocks, but stocks options as well too. I was trading probably around 12, sometimes 16 hours a day, and you know, and it was quite tough, you know. Well, it was quite tough on the body, and that's the reason why I actually got the cancer. Sorry if I seem a bit confused. I'm just watching the road as well too, as I'm driving right now, so I'm not really looking at the camera. I'm just holding it on the steering wheel right now, if you guys are wondering. And yeah, and it was actually, you know, when I went through the cancer, so the story is, well, obviously I was doing all that sort of stuff, making good money, but my relationship with my wife was out of control. I never spent time with my kids. My health was out of control, and yeah, everything was down. Everything was a downward spiral apart from finances, and that's where I started getting a big wake up call. You know, and it still is tough to this day, you know, like, to get that right balance. You know, I still work hard to get that balance, and you can see, like, the way that I look. I take it. You see my skin right now. I take good care of myself. You know, and you know, and sometimes I look back at those times, and I realize that those times in my life were a blessing in disguise, because, you know, and it's so hard, isn't it? Because when you go through a tough time in your life, like when I was $250,000 in debt, I didn't realize that that would catapult me to where I am right now in my trading career. Makes sense? When I went through a divorce, I didn't realize that I would meet someone that would help me feel and help me experience more love and more passion and more joy than I've experienced in my entire life. And yeah, I could never see that when I was going through the divorce, you know, and when I was going through the cancer as well too. You know, I actually removed it all naturally. I basically turned into, and it wasn't a vegan diet, it was basically a rabbit diet. Basically, I just had greens, green. I basically, in a nutshell, I alkalized my body, because it's a scientific fact that tumors have a hard time growing in a high oxygen alkaline environment. So if your body is, you know, almost 100% alkaline and you're not stressing, you're sleeping properly and stuff like that, tumors and diseases have a hard time growing in those environments. Makes sense? So when I removed the cancer, that's basically what it is. I just went back to alkaline, and I'm not saying that that's going to work for you. Please, I'm not saying, you know, if you are going through a tough time right now, or you know someone's going through a tough time, you know, do what's best for you. Okay, go see your doctor, stuff like that. I'm just tell you what I did. Was I lucky? I don't know, but it was definitely the most hardest thing I ever had to do. I basically lived on salads, green salads, broccoli smoothies, and green drinks for about 3 months, and that's basically all I lived on. But it was so interesting because going through the cancer, that's what led me to really understanding what true health was, which was the alkaline in the body. And when you're too acidic, that's when you don't have a lot of energy. That's when you get sick all the time. That's when, you know, your skin starts to look very old and all that sort of stuff. But when you're alkaline, you know, when you're alkaline, that means that when you're alkaline, you're putting a lot of green stuff into your body. It's helping you rejuvenate the cells. And I'm not going to go into the whole alkaline story, but you guys can look it up. It's quite phenomenal what it actually does to the body, because and it's not some diet, you know what I mean? Like, our body is alkaline by design and acid by function. So the more that we're doing things, the more stress, the more a lot of things we do, it's causing a lot of acidic on the body. And if we don't take care of it by taking greens in, we actually literally start to rot from the inside out. We literally start to rot from the inside out. So, and it was through that pain of going through of going through that cancer, which actually led me to where I am today. So, you know, and I still get sick a couple of times a year. I may be stressing a lot about something, or I might not be sleeping properly about something, or you know, I might just not take as many greens in my diet, you know, and yeah, just not take as many greens in my diet, and basically just sorry, 1 minute. Yeah, so, you know, and I might get sick because of that or something else, but one thing I realized in my life is that the more that I stay on top of my diet, and I'm not talking about fruits and veggies and stuff like that, I'm talking about alkaline, like, where's your alkalinity level? As soon as I say that, my nose starts to stuff up. Maybe it's the aircon, I'm not sure, but anyway. So, I guess what I'm trying to say is, while we're going through that pain, there's always a reason why we're going through that pain. But it's so hard, isn't it, that sometimes when you go through that tight time, it's like, man, it gets so tough. So if you're going through a tough time right now in your life, and we all go through tough times, right? Like, I'm going through a tough time right now in my life. And I'm not going to get into that, but, you know, I'm going through a tough time in my life right now. I'm like, why am I going through this? Like, what am I doing? Actually, there's 2 areas of my life that I'm sort of just, I'm hitting up against the wall. I'm just like, but I'm chipping away at it. And it's really interesting because yeah, it's really interesting because like we don't know reason why we're going through that. So here's some things, guys, that here's some things that can help you if you're going through a tough time right now, whether it's an emotional thing, whether it's a mental thing, or whether it's something like that. Here's one thing, especially for the guys, okay? For the guys, this is something really, really important that has helped me get through to where I am today. Again, I've just turned 34 years of age, and I've gone through all of that so far, you know. So I've gone through more stuff, I believe, in my life than most people go through their entire life. I think the reason why is because I just jump in the deep end, and sometimes I take too much risk. I just take on too much stuff. So, but hey, you know, I learned to swim really quickly. So one thing I do say is, yeah, swimming really quickly. One thing I do say is one of the best things you can do to help you get through any, especially an emotional, you know, like especially when I went through a divorce, that was the most hardest emotional thing I had to go through in a long time. And how I went through that is one thing that I learned from one of my coaches was that you need to feel it to heal it. The reason why kids get through pain so much easier than us adults, especially us male adults, is because us male adults, we want to compress and we want to push down all the emotions, and we don't want to bring them up, right? Because like we just bring them down, and it becomes so hard, and we don't want to go there. One thing that's so important to be able to allow you to go through and let that stuff go that's actually holding you back is to experience it, is to feel it. One thing you realize with women, right? With women, you know, their emotion, they're obviously, you know, we're logical. We're logically by design, and women are emotionally by design. And so women are more, the reason why women are more like balloons type thing is because they go, they will experience their emotions, right? They'll experience it. The reason why they can women, especially women, they can generally get through things a lot quicker than us men can, is because they experience the emotions, right? They feel it, they just go through it. And they get the same with kids. You would see why kids, 1 minute, the kids are crying, screaming, oh my goodness, I cut myself, and then 5 minutes later, they're back up, happy again. So one of the best things that I can say to the men who are watching this video, if you're going through a hard time emotionally, if you're going through a hard time and you're trying to bottle that down, don't do that, because that's the thing that's actually stopping you from releasing all that tension in your body to allow you to actually move forward and to take on and to bring into your life whatever the universe has. And sometimes it's in that moment, it's fucking sucks. I understand it. But one of the best things you could do is to feel the pain and say out loud what you're thinking and what you're feeling. If you feel like crying, if you're home alone and stuff like that, and you feel like crying because maybe something emotional is happening in your life, then cry. You know what I mean? Like us men was like, oh, it's not very manly to cry and all this sort of stuff. That's total bullshit. You know what I mean? That is total bullshit. If we're going through a very tough time, we need to feel it to heal it. And the more time we press it down, and I did this, and I didn't realize this, but I did this with the divorce. I'd press it down and press it down and press it down, and it was so hard to move on from that and move forward, only because I wasn't experiencing that. Once I started learning the feel it to heal it type thing, if I cry, I just let it cry. Like I let it go, right? I wouldn't hold it in. I just let it go. I'm like, oh my goodness, and I'd let it go. I'd cry, right? And and I'd let it go. So, but and from that, but if I was thinking something, if I was experiencing something, like I feel like I'm going to be alone for the rest of my life. I feel like that I'm never going to find another great love of my life. I feel like that I'm just going to be lonely. I feel like I'm not going to see my kids anymore. I feel like that, my kids are going to let me disown me, or, I feel like because of this, I've let my kids down. And just say it, let it go. It doesn't mean you're going to. And that's not being negative thinking, by the way. That's you experiencing your emotions. So when you experience your emotions, you realize after going through that, you may cry, you may scream, you may get very angry, maybe angry at the other person, or angry at someone else, or angry at yourself, experience the pain, experience it, feel it. Because when you feel it, you go through it, and on the other side, you're like, oh, man, I feel a lot better now. You know? And so, it's so important to experience those emotions. If you feel like getting cranky, go to the gym or, you know, do some physical exercise. If you're frustrated at something, say it. I'm frustrated at myself for keep doing this. I'm frustrated at this. But you definitely don't want to stay there. You know what I mean? You don't want to stay there. You want to just, you want to feel it. You want to heal it. You want to feel it to heal it, so you can move through it as quickly as possible and allow you to move on the other side. That's the best way to go through anything. So if you're going through that, then just let that go, let that be, and so on and so forth. So no matter what you're going through, I hope that this video here shares with you that I went from $250,000 in debt, and if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't be where I am right now financially as a trader, because I really wanted to do well in trading. With my divorce, I wouldn't, at that time, it was a fucking pain in the ass. No, sorry, excuse me. It was a pain emotionally. And I didn't realize that that was the thing that a few years later was going to lead me into someone that just completely opened up, completely allowed me to feel more love and more joy and more passion in my life than ever before. Now, it doesn't mean you're going to stay with that person for the rest of your life, but it's because of these things you get to experience that more and more. It's because of my cancer, I now got to experience true health. And it's because of all these little things that I've seen in my life and that I've done in my life so far, and still to this day I go through a lot of challenges. It's because it's leading up to something better, and there's something better, and then something better. And if we could try to have that look, no matter how bad, and I know it's tough in the moment of, you might not be doing well financially, or you might not be doing well, you know, in anywhere. Through that process of feeling it to healing it, we also need to be honest with ourselves and say, what is the responsibility? Like, what have I done to cause this? And what can I do to start actually making progress towards my ultimate goals? And this is what I did when I was $250,000 out. I thought, you know what, I'd love to be making $100,000 a year. So I gave myself 2 years to start making $8,000 a month, basically 2 years. And it was about 15, 16 months later, I started doing $30,000 a year, or $30,000 a month. Sorry. Now I'm not saying you're going to do that and so on and so forth, but I got raw with myself, and I literally took my last $10,000 and went and got some coaching off my millionaire mentor, and he really set me on the right path. And it wasn't some strategy; it had nothing to do with the strategy. The strategy I was trading worked. It was just the way that I was viewing the market. It was just the way that I was approaching the market. I was forcing it. I was rushing it. I wasn't being disciplined enough. I was acting in fear all the time. All these different things. That psychology is what makes the trader. And so that's what he really helped me out with. And so from that, then that's when I started picking myself back up. So be honest with yourself. It's like, okay, what did I do to cause this? And the last thing I want to leave with this video, and I hope you guys can, you know, give this a thumbs up if you can, and leave a comment in the chat box below. But the last thing I want to also say to you guys is that stand up for what's right in your life. Stand up for what's right in your life. I'm not talking about being fucking egotistic, because I've been there as well too, and it never works. But if you have values, if you want to be treated in a certain way, but a certain person in your life is not treating you that way, then you need to be willing to walk away from that. Whether it's a partner, or whether it's a friendship, or whether it's a business partner, or a client, or whatever. If you are being treated wrongly, and they're not treating you with the respect that you deserve, then you need to say, listen, I'm not doing this anymore, and you need to walk away. Because the strongest negotiating position in life is being able to walk away and mean it. the strongest negotiating position in life is being able to walk away and mean it. If someone's not going to treat you well, if someone's not going to treat you nicely, and you keep putting up with it, then you're literally inviting them to keep doing it to you. No one will do or say anything to you that you don't invite them to do. No one will say anything to you that you don't invite them to do. And how you invite them to do it is if someone does something to you, you know, we let it slide, right? It's like, oh, it was something small, we let it slide. It's like we need to stand up for ourselves a lot more, and then we say, hey, enough. Boom. You know, like I'll give you an example of one of my friends just recently. For some reason, he just felt like he couldn't trust me, but I trusted him with everything I was saying in my life, but it just didn't seem like he could trust me with what was happening in my life. So he couldn't trust me with what was happening in his life. And I said to him, I said to him that, yeah, I stood up for myself. I said, mate, I think this is unfair. You know, I trust you with everything that's happening in my life right now, and I feel like you can't trust me. I said, I think this is totally unfair. You know, like, I feel like that I'm the only person that's truly opening up to you 100%, and I can rely on you and I can trust you, but you can't trust me. I find that very, I don't know why that's happening. So anyway, so he's actually starting to slowly open up to me. You know, like even just recently, you know, like another friend, you know, like I was talking to another friend just recently, and for 2 or 3 phone calls, he never asked how I was. He only called up just to talk about himself, and that was it. And then he's hung up. So when the next time he called up, I picked up the phone, and I said, mate, I find it really disrespectful that the last 3 phone calls that you've called up, you've only talked about what's on in your life, but not once have you asked me about my life. And I find it really disrespectful. And I said, and I don't appreciate that. And he said, oh, I'm sorry, you know, like I didn't mean that, and so on and so forth. And guess what? Now every time he calls up, he actually asks about my life and how I'm going, and, you know, he's actually a good mate. You know what I mean? And that goes for everything, you know, like with one of my ex-partners that I was with, you know, that it seemed like that I was giving all this love and attention and just respect, and I'd be there for her, and I'd give her flowers, and I'd give her roses, and, you know, and do all this sort of stuff for her, but she was just giving me breadcrumbs back. And I said, I'm not doing this anymore. Like, I'm done with this shit, you know, like, I'm not gonna keep giving you love when you just keep giving me breadcrumbs back. I'm done with this shit. I'm not doing this anymore. If you're not willing to put the effort in because it takes 2, then I'm out of here. And you walk away. You have to be willing to walk away. And once again, no one will do or say anything to you that you don't invite them to do. If you keep allowing it, you're actually asking them to keep doing it to you. So the more you can have self-value, the more you can stand up for yourself, the more you can say, no, enough is enough. But also on the flip side, just remember this, and this is such a hard thing to do in the moment, but no one will do or say anything to you that is not a direct reflection of how they feel about themselves in the moment. No one will do or say anything to you that is not a direct reflection of how they feel about themselves in that moment. And so if someone's having a go at you, if someone's having an attack at you, if someone's actually putting you down, it's so important to try to stay calm, especially us guys. We need to stay calm and say, okay, cool. Is this me or is this them? And one thing I've found is a lot of time it's them. Now, sometimes you can say, why are you so cranky for? It's like, I'm not cranky, you just did wrong by me. Yeah, it's definitely something that is not going to, it's definitely something that I've noticed time and time again through that. So the only way through that is try not to take, if someone's having a personal attack at you, if someone's actually putting you down for no reason, sometimes it's so important just to say, you know what, that's not my stuff, that's his stuff, and let it go. So if someone is having a go at you, and there is someone's actually reflecting everything that they're thinking about, they're actually having a go at you, then you got to stop inviting that by saying, listen, enough is enough. You know, like with one of my ex-partners, I'd be there for her, and I love her, and I'm just like, she just like, yeah, she wouldn't be there for me, she wouldn't, yeah, I just didn't get the love and respect. It's like, I'm out of here, I'm not doing this, I'm done. You know, and you need to be willing to walk away. You need to be willing to walk away from friendships. You need to be willing to walk away from, you know, a lot of people in your life that are not going to serve you. And we need to believe and act and move forward. And this is the hard part, I know. But we need to move forward and believe and persist that the things we have in life, that the things that we want in life are on our way. But if we keep allowing people and circumstances in our life that we don't allow, and we don't stand up for ourselves, we're literally inviting the universe to keep bringing it back. But once we stand up for ourselves and say no more, guess what? Boom, that'll go away, and you'll start to move on with your life, and you'll start to move forward in your life in a way where you start to get better circumstances, better people and situations and circumstances in your life as well too. So leave a comment below, guys, and let me know what you think about this video. Hope it helps you out, guys, and you know, have an amazing day, and I look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow.